Velina me ke aloha. I am Kumu Kawika Foster, and this is Hooponopono Deep Dive Series with a Twist, Part 4. We're talking about Makaukau, the spirit of being ready and being prepared at all times, in spirit, mind, and in body. I also take you on a journey through a story of a time of old, of the acolytes of healing and the great skills that they are required to master as healers. And then we complete with the story and the sharing of the metaphor and the symbology of the great fishnets of our ancestors. So thank you once again for being here, and let's get into the video. So, aloha mai kako, everyone. Thank you once again for being here. We are in the Hooponopono Deep Dive Series with a Twist, Part 4. And today we are talking about Makaukau. We are talking about the energies that we need to be aware of. And we are exploring the depths of expecting the unexpected, expecting the unexpected, and the depth of there are no surprises. Makaukau is a very special and powerful word. It is one of the pillars of the foundation that we speak of and that we share. It is a word that speaks to us of being ready, and being ready at all times, being ready on a spiritual, mental, and physical basis to do what needs to be done. And in Hooponopono, as a process of forgiving, forgetting, and remembering, as a process of freeing and clearing ourselves of the pohakus, the stones that we carry that block our light and that prevent us from having a clear and direct line of communication to that of our ancestors, our guardians, and the higher power or powers that we believe in. Makaukau is a state of being which is in preparedness and readiness to receive the guidance which they offer to us. Makaukau also speaks to us of the work that we are preparing ourselves to do within the process of Hooponopono. And excuse me, the way in which it enlightens us is that in Hooponopono we move through the multitudes of layers of the individual that is coming to us for Hooponopono. And we are continually aware and mindful of their story, of the multitude of stories that they have to share with us to deliver us to the point and of arrival to the pohakus that they carry. And these deep-seated pohakus that we speak of are such things as anger, fear, sadness, worry, jealousy. Hatred is also another very heavy stone, heavy pohaku. And because we're moving in the process of Hooponopono to arrive at these stones, and then to do the work of removing these stones from the individual, we are especially attuned to the sensitivity that these stones have within us. So when we speak of the energies that we need to be aware of in Hooponopono, we're talking about the energies that surround the pohakus. We are also talking about the energies that many a times can attach themselves to the pohakus that an individual carries. Yeah. Attach themselves to the anger, attach themselves to the fear, the hatred. And we are aware of these energies within Hooponopono because, and we must maintain control over the sacred space and the sacred container which is created in order to host, in order to fulfill Ho'oponopono as a process. And we set the confines. We create the sacred boundaries of Ho'oponopono through our prayer. Much like the prayer and the chant that we offer before we do anything, and also the chant and the prayer that I offered here at the beginning of our talk. This brings and draws to us our ancestors, our guardians, our gods, our goddesses, nearer to us, and they guard us, they safeguard and take care of us while we are in the process of Ho'oponopono. And they're safeguarding and protecting us while we are in the sacred container of Ho'oponopono because of the awareness that we have of the other energies that are present. And especially when we're dealing with the pohakus that an individual carries, and knowing the kinds of reactions that working with these pohakus, working with these stones, working with the fear, working with the anger to remove it, yeah, many a times can agitate. Yeah. And so these are the energies that we speak of, that we need to be aware of when we're doing the process of Ho'oponopono. We have specific names for these energies. We call them kolohe. Kolohe is mischievous, and there is a multitude of layers of mischievous spirits. And we also name those spirits that have crossed a line of no return, which we call the kepalo. And the kepalo are those that have done things that they cannot come back from, and has set them on a path from which there is no return. We bring to light these energies now, and these spirits now, in the sharing of Ho'oponopono as a process, to highlight the importance and the significance of the work of Hooponopono. What we are doing in Hooponopono is ensuring that those pohakus that we carry are no longer there. And we're doing that for many reasons. The first and foremost, which you've heard us share a multitude of times, is to allow the light that we're born with to shine brightly once again, to free and clear our connection, the connections that we have to our ancestors, our guardians, and our gods and our goddesses, so that is a clear and direct communication. And we are also removing the pohakus that we carry because, and knowing of and being aware of the kinds of energies that the spirits that can influence those pohakus. In the directness and the fullness of this share of Makaukau, of being prepared, being ready. What we are preparing for and what we are ready for is the presentation of, the possible presentation of, either the kokolohe, the mischievous spirits, or even that of the kepalo, those spirits which have crossed the line of no return, that have attached themselves to the pohakus that an individual is carrying and have the potential of influencing the behavior of that individual. So, in the work of Hooponopono, we fulfill Hooponopono as a process in order to ensure that we're not carrying anything that would appeal or attract those other forces, those other energies that our ancestors are vigilant in safeguarding and protecting us from. The depth of the understanding of Hooponopono as a healing process of forgiveness is to ensure that those pohakus that we carry are no longer there. Because the possibility of us being influenced by the festering of those pohakus within our spirits, within our minds, within our bodies, leaves us susceptible, leaves us vulnerable to the influences of those mischievous spirits, those spirits which have crossed the line of no return, to corrupt our consciousness, to corrupt our being physically, and to take us and to corrupt our ability to return to the path of aloha, unconditional love, of the path of o'ia'i'o, the essence of truth, to return to the path of pono, right? Righteousness and right behavior, right action. In the skills of old, and now I want to take this understanding Ho'oponopono as a process, and I want to take Makaukau back to an older time with all of you. And in this older time of our ancestry, when you were chosen to follow the path of becoming a healer, you entered into a heiau, you entered into a temple, you committed yourself to your kahuna, and the kahuna is the master of the knowledge and wisdom of this path of healing, and you adhered yourself in all of the facets of your being. You adhered yourself to, first and foremost, Akua. And Akua, once again, is the higher being. It's our gods, it's our goddesses. You mastered your relationship to Akua. And then you mastered the puli. And the puli is the prayers. And these prayers is our method of communicating, of engaging the relationship that we have to our gods, our goddesses, and the other spiritual levels of the spiritual realm, which we call our omakua, our guardians, and of course our poe kahiko, our ancestors. So you mastered the pulis, the prayers. And then the next thing that you did, and this is as an acolyte of healing in an older time. Then you mastered the ability to undo what another had done. in this time that I'm speaking of now, you were seen as an unskilled acolyte if you could not undo what another had done. So what this means for us, how this transfers to our understanding today and of where we are now, is Hooponopono. Hooponopono, in its essence, is going back and undoing the pohaku that rests or resides within us. And once again, we're doing that so that we can return to the path of our ancestors, so that our light can shine brightly once again, so our connection can be free and clear. In Makaukau, we stand in readiness to do what needs to be done in Hooponopono. There is another story that I'd like to impart to all of you at this time in regards to Hooponopono as a process. And it's the story of a fishnet. Our fishnets are prized possessions in our culture. And it has a very deep symbolic and metaphoric understanding for us. And the level of patience, the level of concentration, the level of attentive awareness in crafting a fishnet is immense. And each knot that is bound and woven to create the eyelet of the net in rows, in successive rows, has to be woven, has to be knotted in a specific manner and with a very specific distance set between the two knots. And if you're not attentive, if you're not fully present in the crafting of your fishnet, then what you'll find is the knots begin to waver in distance and in strength. So where you have two knots that are an inch apart, and then you have two knots that are 5 inches apart, or 6 inches apart, or 7 inches apart. Now the opening, the eyelets of the fishnet are incongruent. And when you go to throw your net, right, and you cast it upon a school of fish, you'll find that the fish are able to get through those eyelets that are larger than the others. So in the completion of the sharing of this story, what we're doing in Hooponopono, when we have a fishnet that is incongruent in the knotting, we have to go back to that knot and undo it. And you have to go back all the way to the very first knot. That was not done in its appropriate way. And you have to begin again. So that when you're done, your fish net is whole and your fish net is complete. And when you go to cast it out, the catch is assured. So much like this sharing of the story of the fishnet and its symbolic understanding for us, so too in Hooponopono. We have to go back to where that knot first was set in an unorderly manner. And we have to undo it and then do it again. Coming back now to Makaukau. And in the final sharings that I have for you about Makaukau and its readiness, being ready and being prepared for all things at any moment in time, is to speak once again of the essence of Makaukau being that we expect the unexpected and there are no surprises. We are Pa. We have embodied the teachings of our ancestors. And we are firm and we are unshakable in the teachings of our ancestors. So that no matter what comes across our path, in life or in Hooponopono, we are ready to do what needs to be done to ensure the completion and the fulfillment of Hooponopono as a process and as a means of freeing and clearing ourselves of the pohakus, the stones, that our light can shine brightly once again, and that our connection to our ancestors, our guardians, and our gods and our goddesses is free and clear. This is my share on Makaukau. This is my share on Hooponopono. And mahalo for being here. And